Hello, everyone. Today we will talk about transits. You all must have heard that the transit of Saturn and Jupiter is very important because Jupiter is life and Saturn is time. One, how time is flowing in a person's life. These two planets indicate such things. Then Rahu and Ketu are considered very important because they are slow moving and karmic planets. Jupiter, Saturn, Rahu, and Ketu, these four slow moving planets discuss or quantify all events. Overall, these four planets stamp the good and bad events in our life, indicating what the situation is saying. It's saying that it's a good event, and we are either supporting it or not. So whether it will happen or not depends on that. But whenever it comes to fast-moving planets, they are sidelined. These are fast-moving. This will create confusion. See which transit is happening over the natal fast-moving planet. But you must have also heard that when we determine the year of any event, we can narrow it down to 6 months. And then we use the sun to help us further refine it. The sun helps us in determining the month, and the moon helps us in determining the day, which is a significant aspect. We will use how we are feeling about the moon's transit. So the fast-moving planets stay in one sign for 2.5 days. How are we feeling during those 2.5 days? Good or bad? How will we see that? You must have heard that someone's dashas can be as good or as bad as they want. You will see them saying that today was a very bad day or today was a very good day. At that time, definitely apply this principle, whether it feels right or not. This gives me amazing results and I definitely look into it. Let's start with the story of Dashanath and the transit of the moon. So the transit moon is somewhere in relation to Dashanath. Are we not making such a mess? Or are we agreeing with what they are saying? The moon has so much power that it can make or break our day. Moon shows mind. We feel good or bad only through our mind. As I mentioned earlier, we define the Samanta in relation to the event and the moon day. But today, we are talking about our feelings and experiences regarding negativity. And for that, we will base it on Dashanath because the Dashanath is the king of the chart. If the moon messes up in such a Dasha transit, then the Dasha tells the moon that I won't let negativity feel good. And the moon stays in one sign for 2.5 days. Now let's continue the discussion based on this. Basically, what do we need to look at? We need to see how the moon's transit is in relation to Dashanath. To analyze the Dasha, you must have heard about reading the chart by considering Dashanath as the ascendant. So we need to do the same here. You need to base it on Dashanath and then observe the moon's transit. If the moon arm is moving 48 or 12 parts away from Dashanath, then it won't be a good day. And for 2.5 days, you won't have a good experience. Those who know about Muhurta will be aware that when we purify the moon during the Muhurta time, if the transit moon is in the 4th, 8th, or 12th house from the natal moon, then that time is avoided. So if the moon's transit is in the 4th, 8th, or 12th house from Dashanath plus the 2nd house as well. For example, let's say that the time period of Saturn is going on and Saturn is sitting in Aries. The moon moves from Taurus to Cancer, mind challenges from Dashanath. Trines are favorable, says Dashanath. So the Kate mind will be hard for the mind as the moon is not in a good place from Dashanath. If in 1st, 5th, 9th, 3rd, 6th, 10th, 11th, or 7th, Dashanath says, you are favoring me. If it is in a trine from Dashanath, in the 1st, 5th, or 9th houses, or in the 3rd, 6th, 10th, 11th, or 7th houses, then Dashanath tells them, you are favoring me. You are doing me a favor. I'll keep natives happy. Now, what are the principles? When we have identified that the negative houses are not a good placement, it will become even more challenging. If that sign is the debilitation or enemy sign of Dashanath, for example, let's say my Dashanath is the sun, which is in the Virgo sign. If I take Virgo as the ascendant and look at the moon's transit, it is transiting from Libra, which falls in the second house from the sun. And we didn't consider this as a good house. Then I also see that the Libra sign is the debilitation sign of the sun. Now, definitely, Dashanath, the king of the chart, is telling us that I will not let you feel happy. So that sign should not be the debilitation or enemy sign of Dashanath. Now we've talked about Dashanath. But the ascendant is saying that you may be the king right now, but I am the emperor. So, when will the real problem arise? Now, if that sign also falls in 68 or 12 parts from the ascendant, then the problem will increase even more, and it will indicate to us what kind of problems might arise. Now we will understand this case with an example chart. But who will come to save us? It will be the ascendant that will come to save us. Strong ascendant and moon mean a central traveler in good houses is a saving grace. A strong moon sign means not much bad will happen. And also, let's assume that if the sign through which the moon is transiting is strong at this time, then not much bad will happen. This might not feel good. Let's understand that. With an example chart. These natives mostly keep discussing their charts, what they are feeling on a day-to-day basis, and he keeps telling me that today was really extremely bad day and extremely good day. So these principles are understood very well on the charts of such people. So they told me on January 25th, my day today was very bad, and I suffered a lot of loss. Moon in Mars period. Moon in Cancer, second from Dasha Lord, bad. Mars debilitated. If I consider Mars as the ascendant and look at the transit of the moon, that day, the moon was transiting through Cancer. Mars is in its debilitation sign. They didn't feel good and they faced losses at work. Then, it also falls in the 12th house from my chart. So considering all these factors, they didn't feel good and they suffered a loss. Why did they suffer a loss? Because it was the 12th house from the ascendant. I told you that the houses indicate what kind of experience it will be, and they face losses at work, which is represented by the 10th Lord. B place was getting moons on the fingers, so that factor also got added onto it. I was told at 9 that I narrowly escaped an accident. I had a very bad accident and my car is almost damaged. But how did I survive? Oh, let's see that. That day, the moon was transiting through Capricorn. Now, Capricorn falls in the 8th house from my Dasha Lord and in the 6th house from my chart. But they said it was my saving grace. How will we look at that? Capricorn is the exalted sign of my Dasha Lord, and at that time, Mars was also transiting through that same house. So something bad did happen, like accidents, but they also had one saving grace. Now let's do another case study where we see how we interpret the moon's transits as good or bad. You've talked about a lot of bad things. See anything good? We said good things happen in the center triangle. Saturn's period with the moon in Aquarius or Gemini forms a beneficial triangle. Aquarius is Saturn's sign. Gemini is friendly. Positive vibes in Aquarius for gender and the sign of Aquarius is Saturn's own sign, while Gemini is the sign of his friend. So in this case, in Aquarius, related to gender, related to work, related to Saturn's significations, and in Gemini, related to partners, partnerships, people, and work matters, you might feel something good. In fact, you can also advise based on the moon's transit about which day would be good for discussing gender or talking with a partner. As for the Dasha Lord, we have also used the ascendant here. If the main period of the sun is running and the moon is transiting from Libra, then it is in the second house, from the Dasha Lord. And that is the debilitation sign of the sun. In those 2.5 days, I will definitely say to keep an eye on money and work. Please avoid making any major transactions during this period. If the moon goes through Aries sign, then it is in 8th house from my Dashanath, sun, but I have to remember that that sign is sun's own sign and it falls in triangle from my Lagna. Similarly, if moon goes from Leo, then it goes in the 12th house from my Dashanath, making it the same sign as my Dashanath, and it falls in the triangle of my Lagna. So by observing the moon's transit, you can determine how good or bad a day will be, how bad it can get, and how good it can be. You can figure out all these aspects. I hope you will pay attention to the moon's transit next time. Whenever someone tells you that today was a very good or a very bad day. Thank you much.